Kanchanda, Bengali sub-nationalism is not at odds with the idea of Hindutva. A lot of the ideas of Indian nationalism came from within Bengali sub-nationalism.
Rahul, the problem is that we have not made an effort to figure out what is Hindutva all about. So we go by popular slogans, we go by what people like Mr. Roy like to propagate, that it is all Hindi, it's all exclusionary, it's all about domination. No. Again, I mean, I am not here talking as a politician. The idea of Hindutva, and I would urge everybody to read the Supreme Court judgment of 1995, because that encapsulates all the arguments which were made till then. Hindutva as a civilizational concept. When I say cultural nationalism, a Westphalian state cannot have cultural nationalism. A Westphalian state does not have a civilizational history. And that is where we depart from European nationalism. European nationalism was centered around the concept of a Westphalian state. First the state was created, then people were created, then the idea of nationhood was created, and then nationalism was propagated. Here it's different. We come from a civilization that embraces, that includes. This is not a civilization that was created in the last century or a couple of centuries ago.
But Saugata would contest that he made the point about exclusion. It's not about what you think is included. It's about whether those who might feel excluded are feeling included or not.
Rahul, cultural nationalism, and I am very clear, cultural nationalism, call it Hindutva, call it whatever you wish to, is by Indian nationalism is by definition inclusive, because we are a civilizational nation. Our nationalism is civilizational. It does not exclude. It is politics which excludes, and he is answerable for that. I am not.
Saugata, it may be politics which is exclusionary in its execution. The civilizational idea is an inclusionary idea.
The civilizational idea is not an inclusive one.
Why not?
The concept propagated by the few Hindu ideologues, starting from Savarkar with Golwalkar, basically they want a Hindu Rashtra. Hindu Rashtra concept is basically an exclusionary concept. We do not believe in that. We believe in constitutional India, where everybody has got a equal right. I would like to refer you to Jawaharlal Nehru's discovery of India, where he has described how Indian civilization has progressed. And that is in contrast to what the Hindu Rashtrawalas or the Hindutvawalas, they propagate. Now, you may say that who has won in Assam? Assam, this is the fallout of the Assam students movement, when they wanted all Muslims to be driven out of Assam. But you know, all these people of whom Assam BJP is composed of were formerly in Congress or in the ASU student movement. BJP has no basic growth there. Himanta Biswa Sharma, the chief minister, who may speak here tomorrow, was a total congressman. So the question is, even in Assam, Hindutva has not caught on as a philosophy.
Kanchanda didn't want to get drawn into politics, so I'll ask the cultural point about the likes of Savarkar and Golwalkar in their thoughts, in their writings, stood and wrote about an idea which put Hindutva and Hinduism and Hindus at the core of the idea of India. Now it may be uncomfortable, therefore the modern day RSS says those ideas don't reflect the modern RSS. His argument is, but that is at the root of the Hindutva way of thinking.
Savarkar looked at Hindutva from a particular perspective. Others have looked at it from a different perspective. The works which I have cited look at Hindutva from the civilizational perspective. Uh, Professor Roy thinks of India as a constitutional nation or a constitutional state. You cannot really have a constitutional nation. But I look at India as a civilizational nation. I don't wish to really stress on this point that neither he nor I are indigenous to this country. His family came in slightly more happier times. My family came in the middle of a bloodbath. But why did we come to this country? His family was better off than my family. They could have gone to Europe and settled there. Why did they choose to settle over here? Why did my family come to choose, why did they choose to settle over here? Why did they seek refuge over here? So India is, apart from being a civilizational state, it is also a natural home for Hindus. They have no other home. Now to say that no, this is not a home for Hindus, but for everybody else, as he and many others often suggest, that is not true. That is just not true. Now, before, and I think we are running out of time, I will just quickly make 2 points, Rahul. You know, when I mentioned Rajnaran Boshu, I mean, he's very dismissively, he said, they are dead as dodo. And that again is reflective of the decline and fall of Bengal since the late 1960s. That some of the finest minds, finest scholars which Bengal has produced, today they are dismissed as dead as dodo. And he very clearly said that the idea of Hindutva is that, I mean, you know, humanity is one. It's not about distinguishing between individuals, but looking at it as in the larger context of a civilization. And a last point, and then it's all over to Mr. Roy. Please go and read the full text, all 5 stanzas of what was the morning song of India and later became Jana Gana Mana, the national anthem. The first stanza is the national anthem. There are 4 more stanzas to what Tagore wrote. And if you read those 4 stanzas, you will get an idea of what Hindutva, he didn't write it in the context of Hindutva, but I interpret it as a fine definition of the idea of Hindutva, what it means, what it stands for, and where it beckons us to. And that's why I come back to where I started. I'm glad we are having this debate in Bengal, that this is the land which actually was the fountainhead of the idea of Hindutva, cultural nationalism, civilizational identity. And that is the biggest gift from Bengal and Bengal's thinkers to the nation called India.